commercial treasure city of Babylon, according to Jeremiah 51, Revelation 18, Isaiah 14. Babylon must be rebuilt because the ancient Babylon was never destroyed as the Bible says this has to be destroyed. The Bible says the city of Babylon has to be destroyed in 1 hour by fire. Well, ancient Babylon was never destroyed. So therefore, there must be a Babylon to be rebuilt in the future that will be destroyed this specific way. And so therefore, we are beginning to see the building of ancient Babylon. America is going to be in Iraq for many, many more decades. They're building the largest embassy in the world there in the Green Zone. Mm-hmm. There's 14 American bases there. There is no intention of leaving for a long, long time because it's a war of annihilation against the Shia Muslims, to the end that when this is finished, when this papal crusade is finished, then the Vatican will be able to begin to rebuild its commercial capital of the world, which will be situated on the Euphrates River, the ancient city of Babylon.
And you mentioned Dubai. That's very interesting, I think, because a lot of progress, so to speak, has been going on down there. And I mean, the cities, some of the cities that they're building up are just, they're incredible, actually, if you look at them. So I've seen some picture of it.
And it's incredible.
It is.
Absolutely. And, excuse me?
Yeah, no, I was also just going to say that they're building some of the, I don't know if you've seen these. These are like islands. They're building right out in the ocean. These are kind of miniatures of the world. This is like a mini map, actually, of the world where we have condos and things on there. It's like a city. And there's numerous things that they're doing. They're bringing in kind of new technology type cities that are intelligently controlled. You have like an RFID infrastructure throughout the entire city. This is incredible.
Yeah, and this, according to the Bible, Babylon, the city of Babylon, will be the commercial center for the coming Antichrist, for the coming beast, who I show in my book. Is a coming pope, the final pope who will be killed. He will come back to life. He will destroy the Vatican with the 10 military kings that he has in Europe. And then he'll not only go down to Jerusalem, to the third temple, and set his image there, which can talk and speak by the power of his false prophet, but he will also go to his treasure city of Babylon, and it is there that will be the universal commercial center where everyone will be commanded to take his name, his mark, or his number. And the control for all of this will be out of the ancient city of Babylon, rebuilt.
Interesting indeed. If we talk about the Iraq War and some of the things that have been going on there, one of the things, of course, that is a huge scandal almost a year ago now, or even more, I can't remember, the Blackwater scandal, right? We have I think it's now the former CEO, Joseph E. Schmitz, who of course, has connections to both Skull and Bones and Knights of Malta, as I understand it. Is that correct, Eric?
I'm not sure about Skull and Bones. I don't know about that. I haven't seen that, but he is a Knight of Malta. His father was a Knight of Columbus. And so Joseph Schmitz, who is on the board of Blackwater, remember also that he resigned from the Pentagon as an inspector because he was told to investigate Blackwater. So rather than investigate Blackwater, he resigns and he goes to the board of Eric Prince.
Right.
Eric Prince was a Dutch Reformed. He converted to Roman Catholicism. And so Blackwater is nothing but a 21st century band of crusaders controlled by the Knights of Malta in this crusade against these infidel Muslims, quote unquote, justifying their mass murder. And that's what's going on in Iraq right now. It is a mass murder of men, women, and children who are Shiites, who the Pope has targeted as a threat to his temporal and spiritual power, unlike the Sunnis. In fact, the Sunnis are helping the American military and American government annihilate the Shia.
And yet on the front, of course, outwardly in the press, in the media, so forth, Pope Ratzinger, as I call him, is of course denouncing the Iraq war, right? He's telling that all the things that's going on there is horrible. Yet he has these underlings from the Knights of Malta prominently involved in both the invasion and the consequent presence in Iraq. So that's, it's a double standard right there, correct?
That's right. See, when you examine the facts, you see that the papacy is totally behind it. When you listen to its rhetoric, you know he's a liar, because the Pope is the biggest liar in the world. His lies kill millions of people. And so he is outwardly saying this is not our war. But if he doesn't want the war, all he would have to do is order his Cardinal Secretary of State to make one phone call to the papal nuncio in Washington, and that papal nuncio make one phone call to George Bush and tell him to end this war, and George Bush would set in motion the machinery to end this war whenever the Pope wants it ended. That's the kind of power the Pope has.
Right, right.
Furthermore, we know that 9/11 was an inside job. For anybody, any thinking individual to believe that 9/11 was not an inside job, he's not evaluating the facts.
Right.
And I would strongly recommend for your listeners to review Loose Change #2. But there are many other good presentations on it. But the inside job of 9/11 involved the organized intelligence community of the United States. It all works together. If that's the case, the question is who was in charge of that organized intelligence community on 9/11?
Yeah.
And that answer is one man, George J. Tenet.
Right.
George J. Tenet, as you probably already know, is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations.
Yes.
The Council on Foreign Relations is America's secret government based out of New York City, begun in 1921, and its overseer is the Archbishop of New York City, today Edward Cardinal Egan. George J. Tenet is also a Knight of Malta. He was educated at the Jesuit School of Foreign Service, founded by Edmund Walsh. Edmund Walsh was the most powerful American Jesuit from 1922 to 1952. He controlled Eisenhower. He controlled FDR. He controlled Truman through the entire duration of the war. Edmund Walsh is the most powerful American Jesuit during this, what I call the Second 30 Years' War from 1914 to 1945. So, and he's also a Knight of Malta. So here we have George J. Tenet. He's a Knight of Malta. He is tutored by the School of Foreign Service started by Edmund Walsh. He is a member of the CFR. He's beloved of the new president of Georgetown University in Washington. That new president is not a Jesuit. He is a Knight of Malta, John de Goya, and he's also a CFR member. So when you add it all together, it was Archbishop Egan of New York City who ordered 9/11. It was carried out by DCI, Director of Central Intelligence, George J. Tenet, who was also a national security advisor. And then to cover his tracks and make him not the center point of any attention, he resigns from the CIA. So that's how they cover their tracks in this. So this is a papal crusade started by the Knights of Malta, carried out by the Knights of Malta, and when the Vatican makes John McCain president of this country, his campaign manager at this time is another Knight of Malta. So they are fully intending to continue this crusade, and they're going to do a few more things in this country that are going to be to justify the continuation of it.
And so what you're saying is that this was used, 9/11 then, this was used as a catalyst to enter into the Middle East again and start up another holy crusade, right?
That's right. This is just as much of a crusade as the 9 crusades during the Dark Ages. And this crusade is, of course, oil is involved. That's the cover, and making money for Halliburton and other major corporations controlled by the Knights of Malta, because they're not only going to kill off this Shia population, they're going to make billions of dollars for themselves and also pave the way for the rebuilding of Babylon. But the other thing is they're going to secure Israel, which they call the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem. Now, as I cover on my CD, the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem began in 1099 and it ended in 1291. And the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem was intended by the Pope to be his place of universal worship, but in the providence of God, the Pope really never got power over that kingdom. So what happened was, with the end of the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem in 1291, I'm on the radio. In 1291, then the Vatican wanted to have another crusade or so, but they always wanted to take it back, but they never could. So therefore, during World War I, the Jesuits used the British Empire, the Protestant British Empire, to then destroy the Ottoman Empire, which was aided and abetted by the Ottoman Sultan, Hamid, I believe, the fifth. And they took Jerusalem from the Muslims, and that was the beginning of being able to rebuild the temple there on the Temple Mount, and that was the beginning of reestablishing the post-Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem. So this crusade will kill off many millions of Muslim enemies to the maintaining of the nation of Israel, so that the Pope can build Solomon's Temple there on the Temple Mount. As we know that in 1993, the post-Masonic Jewish Labor Zionists deeded the Mount, that holy site, to the Vatican in September. And in December, the Vatican formally recognized the nation of Israel.
Right.
So that's the purpose for this crusade, I'm totally believe. And the other thing is they're going to bring in tons and tons of gold out of the central banks that they've hoarded away from the people, and they're going to make this third temple an unbelievable eighth wonder of the world.
Right,
For that to happen, there can be no bombers. There can be no Palestinian bombers to upset the building of this, so all of those people have to be removed.
And this is going to be, of course, done or veiled in this disguise that now we have attained world peace, finally. The earth is safe, right? And now a new era begins of 1,000 years of peace for mankind. That's what I kind of see on the horizon. What about your...
That's right. That's their propaganda.
Right,
That's right.
And, of course, we can discuss some of the aftermath here again of 9/11 and discuss some of the things that happened in the U.S., of course. We can talk about the chief architect of the USA Patriot Act, Viet Din. Tell us about him, Eric.
Well, Viet Din is a Vietnamese Roman Catholic, and he comes from a noble family in Vietnam, as did President Diem during the Vietnam War. He is also a professor, or an adjunct professor, I believe, at Georgetown University, and he was also a deputy director of the Justice Department, Assistant Attorney General. That's what he was, Assistant Attorney General. And so this guy at Georgetown University writes the Patriot Act of somewhat 200 pages that's immediately in place, ready to be introduced right after 9/11.
Right.
And not one American congressman read it. Not one. So they passed this thing under the guise of keeping America safe, blah, blah, blah. And now what we have is the real beginnings of the overthrow of our Fourth Amendment right, our Fifth Amendment right, the implementation of fascism, because the Jesuits have sought to bring a fascist military dictator to power here in America since no later than the 1930s. With the quest of John J. Raskob and other Knights of Malta to overthrow, quote-unquote, FDR, and to implement this dictatorship under a dictatorship.
Let's talk a little bit about Georgetown University. For people that might not know, this comes up, again and again in your work. Definitely in Vatican Assassins, we see people that attend this university and go there and teach there and so forth. Does this, if someone goes to Georgetown University or teaches there, does that automatically mean that person, is a Jesuit or endorse that particular theology / philosophy, or even is of Catholic stock?
Generally, not necessarily. Most of the people that go there think they're just getting a good education, which is true. But those on the faculty, they know the power of the Jesuit order, and if they have watched what's going on, know the direction of things, and they also know that the President, Supreme Court justices, powerful senators and congressmen all meet at Georgetown University on a regular basis to discuss foreign policy, domestic policy, and so on. So it doesn't take a real bright individual to see, if they're a professor, that Georgetown University is the capital of the United States. It's only some 4 miles away from Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
So the Jesuits control all foreign and all domestic policy